wasn't happening. And that's what business is all about. Yep.
Before purchasing a company, how much qualitative analysis do you do versus quantitative analysis? And have you ever bought a company where the numbers told you not to?
Those are the best buys. The question is whether have I ever bought a company where the numbers told me not to, and how much is qualitative and how much is quantitative. The best buys have been when the numbers almost tell you not to. I mean, because then you feel so strongly about the product, and not just the fact that you're getting a used cigar butt cheap, that it's compelling. I mean, I owned a windmill company at one time, so windmills are cigar butts, believe me. I bought it very cheap. I bought it at a third of working capital, and we made money out of it. But there's no repetitive money to be earned. I mean, there's a one-time profit in something like that, and it's just not the thing to be doing. I went through that phase. I mean, I bought streetcar companies and all kinds of things. But in terms of the qualitative, I probably understand the qualitative the moment I get the phone call. I mean, almost every business we've bought has taken 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, in terms of analysis, and we bought 2 businesses this year. General Re is, 18 billion or some deal. I've never been to their home office. I hope it's there. There could be just a few guys, and they say, "Well, what numbers shall we send Buffett this month?" I can see him, coming in once a month and saying, "Well, we'll just tell him we've got 20 billion in the bank this month instead of 18 billion or something." But I've never been there. And before I bought Executive Jet, which is fractional ownership of jets. And before I bought it, I'd never been there. I bought my family a quarter interest in the program 3 years earlier, and I'd seen the service and seen it develop well. And I got the numbers, but if you don't know enough to know about the business instantly, you won't know enough in a month or 2 months. I mean, you have to have sort of the background of understanding and knowing what you do understand and don't understand. And that is the key. It's defining what I call your circle of competence. And everybody's got a different circle of competence. The important thing is not how big the circle is. The important thing is staying inside the circle. And if that circle has only got 30 companies in it out of thousands on the big board, as long as you know which 30 they are, you're okay. And you should know those businesses well enough so that you don't need to do lots of work. Now, I did a lot of work in the earlier years just in getting familiar with businesses. And the way I would do that is I would go out and use what Phil Fisher called the scuttlebutt approach. I'd go out, I'd talk to customers, I'd talk to maybe ex-employees in some cases, I'd talk to suppliers, everybody. Every time I'd see somebody in an industry, let's say I was interested in the coal industry, I'd go around and see every coal company, and I'd ask every CEO, if you could only buy stock in one coal company that wasn't your own, which one would it be, and why? And you piece those things together, and you learn a lot about the business after a while. And the funny thing is you get very similar answers as long as you ask about competitors. I'd say if you got a silver bullet, and you put it through the head of one competitor, which competitor and why? You'll find out who the best guy in the industry is in that case, or the one that's coming up. And there's a lot of things you can learn about a business. I've done that in the past on the businesses that I feel I could understand, so I don't have to do much of that anymore. It's a nice thing about investing is you don't have to learn anything very new. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but if you learned about Wrigley's chewing gum 40 years ago, you still understand Wrigley's chewing gum. There's not a lot of great insights to get or anything of the sort as you go along. So you do get a database in your head. I had a guy, Frank Rooney, who ran Melville for many years. His father-in-law died, owned a company called H.H. Brown, a shoe company. And he put it up with Goldman Sachs, but he was playing golf with a friend of mine here in Florida and mentioned to this friend. The guy said, "Why don't you call Warren?" He called me at the end of the golf match, and in 5 minutes I basically had a deal. But I knew Frank, and I knew the kind of business, and I sort of knew the basic economics of a shoe business, and so I could buy it. And quantitatively, I got to decide what the price is. That's either yes or no. I mean, I don't fool around a lot with negotiations. So if they name a price that makes sense to me, I buy it. And if they don't, I was happy the day before, so I'll be happy the day after without owning it. Yeah.
Coca-Cola just announced a drop in expectations in terms of future earnings and fourth quarter earnings. And in light of the fact that Coke has a lot of their profits coming in from outside the United States, how do you think the Asian crisis, so to speak, is going to affect Coke, and for that matter, the industry in general?
The question is about the Asian crisis and how it affects a company like Coke that recently announced that the earnings, actually they just announced their third quarter earnings, but a few weeks ago they tipped people off that they were going to be lower in the fourth quarter and so on. Well, basically I love it, but because the market for Coca-Cola products is going to grow far faster over the next 20 years internationally than it will in the United States. It'll grow in the United States on a per capita basis, but it's going to grow faster elsewhere. So the fact that it's going to be a tough period for, who knows, 3 months or 3 years, but it won't be tough for 20 years. I mean, people are still going to, they're going to work productively around the world, and they're going to find that this is a bargain product in terms of the portion of their working day that they have to give up in order to have one of these, or better yet, 5 of them a day, like I do. It's this is a product. In 1936, when I first bought 6 of those for a quarter and sold them for a nickel each, and it was in a 6.5-ounce bottle, and you paid a 2-cent deposit on the bottle. That was a 6.5-ounce bottle for a nickel at that time. It's now a 12-ounce can, which if you buy it on weekends, or if you buy it in bigger quantities, so much money doesn't go to the packaging, I mean, you essentially can buy the 12 ounces for not much more than 20 cents. So you're paying not much more than twice the per ounce price of 1936. It is a product that's gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper in relative to people's earning power over the years, and which people love. In 200 countries, you have the per capita use going up every year for a product that's over 100 years old, and that dominates the market. I mean, it's unbelievable. One thing that people don't understand is one of the things that makes this product, this is worth tens and tens of billions of dollars, is one simple fact about really all colas, but we'll call it Coca-Cola for the moment. It happens to be a name I like. Cola has no taste memory. You can drink one of these at 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock. The one at 5 o'clock will taste just as good to you as the one you drank early in the morning. You can't do that with cream soda, root beer, orange, grape, you name it. All of those things accumulate on you. Most foods and beverages accumulate on you. You get sick of them after a while. And if you eat, I mean, we get these people who go to work for us that seize candy, and we tell them they eat all the candy they want. And the first day they go crazy. But after a week, they're eating about the same amount they'd eat if they were buying it, because chocolate accumulates on, everything accumulates on. There is no taste memory to cola. And that means that you get people around the world that are heavy users that'll drink 5 a day, or Diet Coke, maybe 7 or 8 a day, or something of the sort. They'll never do that with other products. So you get this incredible per capita consumption. The average person in this part of the world, well, maybe a little north of here, drinks about 64 ounces of liquid a day. And you can have all 64 ounces of that be Coke, and you will not get fed up with Coke if you like it to start with, in the least. But if you do that with almost anything else, if you eat just one product all day, you'll get a little sick of it after a while. And it's a huge factor. So that today, over 1 billion 8-ounce servings of Coca-Cola products will be sold in the world. And that will grow year by year. It'll grow in every country, virtually. And it'll grow on a per capita basis. And 20 years from now, it'll grow in a lot faster internationally than in the U.S. So I really like that market better, because there is more growth there over time.